My name is Sharon Tate, and let me tell you right away, the rumors about my murder have been gravely exaggerated. After all these years, I have made up my mind to tell the truth. The truth about my life, my resurrection, and my death. As far as I know, I was born on January 24th, 1943, in Dallas, Texas, and I was named Sharon Tate. I guess you could say I was groomed for stardom all my life. Imagine, I was Miss Tiny Tot when I was only 6 months old. I went on to win several more prizes for my beauty and poise. So, naturally, I got into modeling. Want to know something cool? I even had a Barbie doll made in my image. Isn't that something? My dad is a major in the Army. I am very proud of him. And my sister, Deborah, she's just a peach. Well, back to my story. I was put under contract with a large movie studio, can you believe it? I almost couldn't. For one thing, I knew I was not a very good actress. They tried to teach me, but I guess it didn't take. After all, I am not an actress. Not really. The truth is, I work for one of those 3-letter agencies, you know? The ones you better not mention. I was groomed to be in public, to have a perfect smile, to do as I am told. So, I became a movie starlet. You wouldn't believe how much a studio can achieve when they turn on the PR machinery. Just in one of my early films, I was informed I had to marry a foreign guy. He was an agent and needed the cover, so I became his wife. But, let's be honest, I had a boyfriend who was a famous hairdresser, and I saw him on the side, all the time. And you know what? We had a baby together. But let's get back to the night of my official death. August 9th, 1969. You see, the thing was, there were all these hippies. I mean, they were just everywhere. There was a cultural revolution happening. And they found out how to trick the system because they lived in communes. They shared their lives, food, love. To be honest, I envied them, but the state needed the hippies gone. You see? They didn't even pay taxes. I mean, how can a state function? So they hatched a plan. I would be the blonde starlet. Manson and some other people I met before would be the baddies. And once we convinced the world that it's really bad to be a hippie, hey, people got really scared. And the revolution of the counterculture was over before it even began. Well, the truth is, my murder was just another acting job. I didn't really question it. If I would have been born into another home, I probably would have been a hippie myself. That was my dream, to be free, and I would get it. So, I was okay with disappearing. You want to know how we did it, right? Well, it was easier than I thought. They just arranged to have the furniture in my house changed. They put in some less expensive pieces. I mean, my house was photographed 1,000 times, and I had beautiful things. I didn't want them to be damaged or lost. Then I just posed where they told me to. The problem for them was, they said I still looked too healthy on the snapshots, but they would simply doctor them and make me look a bit more gory. Then they just swamped all the media with them, so nobody wanted to look at them closely. It's easy. I insisted that my lover can also disappear with me, and we would both be declared dead and start a new life. And it worked perfectly. It was so obvious, yet nobody seemed to question it. I insisted that my lover can also disappear with me, and we would both be declared dead and start a new life. And it worked perfectly. It was so obvious, yet nobody seemed to question it. Now you want to know who I became, don't you? That was easy. I became my sister. No, really. They just made up a sister, and I assumed that identity. I mean, there are no photos of the 3 of us together, obviously, but nobody seemed to mind that at all. Sometime later, I found out that they didn't give my new identity a birth certificate. They also didn't do a very good job with my new identity's marriage or subsequent death certificate. I guess they just forgot. But since nobody seemed to notice, I just kept to myself and lived very privately. I know what you are thinking now. This story is just not possible. I guess in a way it is hard to imagine, but that's only if you don't know how much power there is at play. The people that made me Sharon into Patricia, my alter ego. Well, they can do pretty much whatever they want. They can make people disappear. They can make people up. They can do as they please in this society. Hey, you want to hear something even weirder? In the 90s, the rumors were spreading that I, Patricia, might in fact be someone else. I guess the lack of documentation did hurt my identity after all. To stop those rumors, I appeared as Patricia on national television, giving an interview. Yes, I know it sounds insane, but they always do things in a way that they are in plain sight, you know. So, I went on to that television show. Let me tell you, my heart was beating like crazy the whole time. I was so nervous I had to cough several times during the interview. I had the moves down, and so far I had gotten away with this strange tale, but now I was on public television, and there was just one little problem. I have a scar on my ear, and I had to hide it as best as I could. So they were supposed to film only from one side of my face. It worked pretty well. I mean, nobody was the wiser, but I felt very on edge. I mean, all those people watching. What if someone caught on? But nobody did. The myth around my death had become so entwined with pop culture at this point that people had a strange fascination with it. I guess it's because they felt instinctively that there was something wrong with the whole story. But as it turned out, the public is easy to fool. And soon after that appearance on television, they staged the death of Patricia, and I was finally free. I have looked it up on public record, and there is no death certificate for Patricia. But if you won't tell, I sure won't either. The reason is simple. I am now finally free. I was lucky. I got away out of the whole rat race. Most aren't as lucky as me. Just look at my poor sister Deborah. I think she never understood what happened. I think she seriously suffers, thinking I was murdered. But I guess sacrifices had to be made. And she is a much more believable public person this way. Still defending that the Manson family was the most evil group of people ever to live. It's funny, when I saw Charlie was declared dead, they showed a picture of him on television, and I realized he had his ears pinned back and his face lifted. Good for him. I always thought that would suit him better. But not even that was enough to make anyone wonder what the truth really was. So, now that all is said and done, all has been told, I hope you can start seeing the world in a different light. More clearly, without blinders on, and without believing all that you are told, without even thinking for yourself. So, this is where I leave you. I wish you all the best. Live your lives, be happy, and don't waste too much time on things they want you to worry about. Instead, think of your family, friends, and the future. I did it. You can do it too. Love, Sharon.